Hello, Mr. Lopez.
How are you?
I'm doing well, sir.
Okay, good. I don't
Waiting
know
to.
what's going on with my computer. I had to turn my stuff sideways.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so there we go. So like right now I had to turn the camera sideways just to make it. Oh, there it goes. There we go. Okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, let me turn the camera back the way it was and see if I can get this to work. You doing all right? You got everything you need?
Let's see. I have not yet. I don't see the captions yet.
Oh, hang on, let me get in there.
Thanks.
Let me get in there. Captions. Hang on. Well, I gotta go to your section. There it is. There it goes. And assign to type closed captions, right?
Correct. That is correct.
All right. Now can you see it?
Yes, I do. Let me just double check.
Oh, wait.
Yes, I see them. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Good. Weird. My camera's acting up. Let's see. There we go. Now I can see. Oh, there are days. There you go. Really.
Captions are ready.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, we had a little confusion the last time with meeting link. So we straightened that out. So everything looks like it's gonna work.
Wonderful.
You know. Yeah. So
So
where are
like,
you at? Where are
I'm
you at?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Oh, wow. So how's the weather there? Cold?
Actually, no. Today it was perfect. It's actually in the about 80 degrees, and it's been clear with we've had some badly needed rain.
Oh, wow.
So we're happy right now.
Yeah, I like Houston. I was out there during this last couple during the summer. I flew out there and
Oh, you got a little taste of our heat.
oh yeah, I've been out in Houston. My ex-brother all used to live out there, and also there's a couple of places I visit when I'm there. But yeah, it's yeah. But I'm from El Paso, that's why. So
Oh, so you're used to the heat.
oh yeah, the heat. Jeez, you guys got humidity. That's what's terrible.
Yes, we
Yeah, you
do.
guys are humid and hot. So I don't know which is worse.
You know, my father was actually born in Juarez.
All right, what is okay?
Yes, in
Ooh,
Juarez.
rough. All right.
I know. It's very different from where when he
Oh
grew up,
yeah.
when he grew up,
Oh
but
yeah.
and I lived in Chihuahua.
Okay, I went to Chihuahua. I was there with the governor Barrios invited me out there to be a speaker to the diputados,
Yep.
and so that was fun. We stayed at we stayed at, close by to the palace. They put us up in a real nice hotel. It was cool.
I like Chihuahua.
But they put onions even on dessert. Everything had chile. Oh my God, I was dying. I mean, I was dying. I couldn't handle it. Chile everywhere. It was crazy.
How do you like New Mexico?
It's not Mexican food. You know,
It's different.
it's like they want green chili on everything, and it's not the same thing. I'm sorry. I mean, if you got to make your chili so hot you can't taste the food because your mouth burned, well, then I'm sorry, your food doesn't, it's not tasting good. Because
I like,
I like chili to be an accent, not to burn you.
yes. So is it cold over there?
It's snowing right now, a
Oh,
lot.
wow.
We're expecting 7 inches. We might be
Wow.
closed at City Hall tomorrow.
Wow.
So, and after this meeting, I gotta run to the office in the snow to print out some stuff for the veterans.
Oh, wow.
So, because I want to do it early, because I don't want to not go tomorrow, and they need it by Monday, but I don't want to wait. I don't want something to go wrong and I didn't print it, you know.
Well, you have a cozy office with a fireplace and your assistant behind you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a cool setup. I like it. You know, the modern age of working at home.
Ah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I won't give that up easily, but we'll see. We'll see. Work is work. Like yourself. I mean, you do all your stuff at home, right?
Yes, I do. Um, yes, I do. It's been like that for 20 years.
Wow. Okay, we got someone coming in. Let's see. Let her in. I wonder where where is our chairperson? Okay, she's here. I hate it because I cannot pronounce names sometimes. Oh well, I guess I'm getting old. When I was young, I could memorize everything, phone
I hear
numbers,
you. I hear you.
everything. Yeah, it was before cell phones. You had to memorize phone numbers.
I remember.
Now it's like
You know, I
now with
was
AI, we're gonna forget even how to read.
yeah, that is scary to read
I
or
don't like
write.
AI. I don't know about AI. I think it's gonna make us dumber. It's gonna make us dumber.
You know,
I mean,
I use AI, but as a tool. I use various AI tools, but only as tools.
okay.
Like for editing and cleaning up documents. But I write them first, and then I let
Yeah,
AI help me.
yeah. But even then, I don't know. How can you get better?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are just gonna cheat. I remember having to go to the library and write your reports. Now you can actually just get one.
Yeah, and that's
Uh,
scary. That is scary because people cannot, if they don't know how to write, they can't really express themselves.
yeah, and then when you have to present the report, if you don't know how it came together, then how are you gonna present it?
Yep. Yeah.
You know, like when I look at buildings for accessibility, I like to do it myself. So that way, if they have a question about one little item, I can answer it because I did the measurement. But nowadays, they're asking me to supervise it instead of doing it. I'm like, oh, I don't like letting go.
It's hard.
Maybe I'm a control freak. I don't know. I just don't trust people's view of things. But
Well,
okay, we'll
I,
see.
I actually thought about moving to Santa Fe at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a little expensive, I'll tell you that much.
I can see that. That's one of the drawbacks. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking starting rents for a one bedroom, 2,000 bucks for a decent place
Wow.
that I know what kind of place you would be used to if you're living in Houston. So, and anything cheaper is not really a nice place, you know, and that's kind of expensive. But if you can land a position out here that pays you well, why not? You know,
Yeah. Like,
it, they tell me Espanola is a nice place. Close neighboring towns are okay. Albuquerque, that's a little far. That's an hour to come back and forth, and I know people that do that and they hate it.
yeah.
They don't like it because it's they spend time trying to get home, you know, and
Yeah.
that's
That's too
that's
much.
hard. I couldn't do that. That's why I'm 11 minutes away from City Hall, so I prefer that. You know,
Yeah. I used to be a civil servant moons ago.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Let's see. Do we have anyone else? Just well, we haven't started yet, so that's good. And we're gonna get another person. You're doing the captioning, so we're gonna get someone who does sign language.
Yeah, you should be getting two people.
Yeah, yeah. This is getting crazy. Wow, Houston. I like Galveston too. All right.
Yeah, I do too. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It has a lot of flavor.
But God, Houston's big. I
Yeah.
mean, I was all the way over to Katy, and that's some interesting neighborhoods.
Yeah, it is. I used to sail the actually I've sailed the Galveston Bay a lot.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah,
Well,
it
I
is.
think I'll watch and have something to eat. I won't do that.
You have to keep watching for the tankers and the cargo vessels because
Yeah.
the traffic is constant. You have to, and you're in a little boat, so
Yeah, it's
gotta,
one of the busiest ports. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the busiest ports next. Yeah, we are the busy. Yeah, Texas has busy ports.
Actually, it's the biggest tanker port
Hmm.
in the Gulf.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, people don't have no concept of what Texas is about. Everything's big. Jeez. You know,
Yes, yes, it is.
you know, when
And,
they
and
tell me they think a $5 million project is big, and I go, no. Mm-mm.
well, heck,
No, that,
it takes 10 hours just to get from El Paso to Houston.
yeah. Oh, well, hang on. El Paso here, 10 hours? Yeah, you're right. I could do it faster, but you gotta
Well,
do it. I
well,
used to go from El Paso to Brownsville in 12 hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good time.
Oh, yeah. 1 month I had to do it like it was crazy back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Brownsville?
I was their ADA coordinator. I was taking care of the stuff for
Oh,
them. And
mm,
then and then I had accepted a job in El Paso, and my wife was still doing her graduate courses, and so I had to go back and forth on weekends.
what did you study?
She got her out. She's a counselor. She's a licensed professional counselor.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, and she's retired now. But then again, she signed another contract, so I think she's back at it. So it's
Good
crazy.
for her.
Yeah, I go, well, it's your call. I'm not telling you what to do. I barely tell myself what to do. So you're still young, I take it.
No, I am actually 66.
66. Have you had
Yeah,
kids and all that?
I have one son who lives in Dallas,
Yeah, my
but
daughter lives in Dallas. Yeah.
I feel very young. I get along
Well, yeah.
really well with technology. So,
Me too. I feel like I still think I'm 20 in my head.
yeah, well, I realize that my body will remind me that I'm not
Oh yeah.
if I'm not
Mm,
careful.
yeah, especially when you eat something bad, blah.
Yeah,
It doesn't forgive you.
that's right.
God, the things I used to eat a whole extra large pizza by myself. Now I could barely do a slice and a half.
Yeah, that's
God,
amazing how our appetite drops
it's
substantially.
crazy.
Yeah.
I hate that. Yeah. I remember that movie where those guys created a fraternity and and they had that old guy, Blue. Oh no, no, what's his name? Adams Sandler. And it was about him marrying the girl was what's her name? The girl was marrying someone, and they're at the bar, and he says he was going to tell on her, but then the old man took a swing at him, and he goes, "I used to be very strong." I think
That's right.
that's me.
I
I
don't know
used
what happened.
I used to be very strong too. Not not anymore.
Not anymore.
And
Yeah.
it's Pam. Let's see, Pam's the one that's going to benefit from
Yes.
the captionings. I like Pam. She's cool. I'll say we're gonna have a quorum if Pam's showing up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man.
you usually do. That doesn't seem to be a problem with you.
All right. Okay. Hang on. Let me talk to you in a moment. Hang on. Let me. Okay. Okay.
Just at the end, remember to give me 10 seconds to just grab the transcript, please.
Yeah, not to worry. Well, we'll see when we start. I mean, we haven't started. Oh, are we recording yet? Or, let me see. Okay. And
Thank
we're
you.
good. And then Angelique is here. And then Gina Marie's trying to get on, I think.
Okay.
Has joined. I'm trying to see if anyone else is here. Okay, there she is. Her phone number. Okay. That's Gina Marie. Let's see, where is she? Well, there she is. I'm gonna edit her name. Rename. Maria. If I say Marie, she'll kill me. She's on. Did you have a chance to talk to Christopher?
Me, no.
No. Okay.
No, and I had emailed him earlier and didn't hear back, so.
No.
It's on the agenda.
Yep.
All right, I call this meeting to order at 3:04 PM. May we have roll call, please?
Yes. Kathleen Gish.
Here.
Jose Eli Frescas.
Here.
Kendra Garcia. Kendra. Here she comes. Kendra Garcia.
Here, sorry, had to tell a
Alright.
teenager.
Ari Black.
Here,
And Angelique Montoya Chavez.
I'm present.
Pam Harfit. Are you here, Pam? Okay, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
No, she's not muted.
Okay, weird.
she was here earlier.
She's right here in front of us. She's right here. I see her. So she's present. Gina Maria, are you on the telephone?
Okay, until 5, bye.
Are you there, Gina Maria? Well, I see that she's on there. She
Yeah.
might have it on mute or she's driving. So let's give her the benefit of the doubt that she's here.
Yeah, I see her.
Okay, good. And then Elsa, is she here?
Miriam.
Miriam, sorry, Elsa Miriam. No, I don't see her.
I don't see Miriam.
Yes, I'm here by phone.
You're Gina Maria,
Hello?
right? Gina Maria, can you hear us?
No, no, this is Miriam Jahar. I'm
Oh,
here
Miriam.
by phone.
Okay, I have the wrong name. I better fix that.
Sorry.
My fault.
Yeah, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm coming from South.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
But I'm pulled over.
Okay, there we go. Okay, that's everyone at this point.
Okay, thank you. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or amendments that need to be made to the agenda? If there are no changes, may we have a motion to approve the agenda as it is?
Move to approve as presented.
I second it, Kendra.
Kendra. Okay, and then let's go ahead and Catherine Gish,
Yes.
Jose Eli,
Yes.
Kendra Garcia,
Yes.
Aurora Black,
Yes,
Angelique Montoya Chavez,
Yeah.
Pam Parfit. Yes, she said yes. And then Elsa Miriam, sorry,
Yes.
Okay, that's everyone.
All right, Gina Maria told me that she's waiting to be let in, but I
Oh,
don't know
okay,
if she.
I'll let her in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there she is. She's in now.
Hey,
I'll go ahead and now got her in as here. Okay,
no, that's. Let me
we
see.
approve.
Hold up. That's not Gina Maria.
Who is that?
That's a guest.
Okay, so she's not here.
The one on my calendar. She's saying the one on my calendar from the invitation.
Yeah. I sent her an email.
Yeah.
So that she can get on with that one.
All right, she's trying to get the right link.
Okay.
Okay, she's gonna try the other one. There's something wrong with the links. Like one of them doesn't work. So I
Yeah,
don't
the
know if
six.
I don't know if like before the meetings I should try and sign on with all of the links to make sure that they all work.
Yeah. Well, there's only one because I got rid of the other one.
But
So
they
the
don't like
six-
if there's something wrong with the link itself. Like the link doesn't like maybe it's
Weird.
missing a symbol or maybe there's a space somewhere. It's done that before in the past.
Hmm. Okay.
I used
Yeah.
the one from Daniel's email from yesterday.
Yeah, the one from the
Okay.
email is the one that works the best because I don't know what can happen between me giving it to city clerks. They could drop a letter or something.
Exactly.
And they can cancel our meeting, right?
Not without my permission and not without me saying something about it. By the way, everyone, they posted in the Santa Fe New Mexican that our meeting today was canceled. Clearly it's
Who?
not.
Yeah, I had no idea that they did that. You read the paper apparently, and
No, I was notified by someone I'm very, very grateful for who notified me.
and no one will tell me who did it.
No, I bet that.
Wow.
Well,
All right, Gina Maria is not, something is not right. Can someone please message her and get her a link for me so that because I
So
can't do
I just emailed her
Okay.
the, what is it, link.
Okay. Thank you. So next is approval of the minutes. Are there any changes for October 2nd, 2024? Are there any changes to the minutes?
Yes. On number 3, after the words to approve the, we need to add agenda.
okay. Add agenda. Okay. Word.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, and that was the only thing I saw as well, so.
Do we have a
um,
motion?
Yeah, can we have a motion to approve the minutes for October 2nd, 2024 as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. This is Kendra.
Kendra, okay. Let me go ahead and Catherine Gish,
Yes.
Jose Eli, yes. Kendra Garcia,
Yes.
Aura Black,
Yes.
Angelique Montoya Chavez,
Yes, please.
and then Pam Parfit. Let me look. Yes, she said yes. And then we have Elsa Merriam.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And we don't have Gina Maria yet. So we'll see. So everyone else approved it.
Thank you. Next is public comments. Are there any public comments? Miji, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who to address this to. But but there's no YouTube from last meeting.
Oh, I haven't
and
posted
There's been a
that.
couple that have been late posting,
Hmm.
and maybe this is just me, but my notes aren't as good as they should be. And I frequently want to go back and watch parts of the video, and it's nowhere to be found. So I don't know if this is somebody on the committee's responsibility or someone in the mayor's office, but could we get it posted in a couple days?
Yeah,
like
let
it
me
used
get to
be?
it. Yes, I will get to that. I'll post that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Mishi. And Daniel, in the past, we always had the video posted or at least sent to IT within 3 days. So that
Okay.
was, so you know, it was usually up by the Monday following our meeting. It was already posted on YouTube. That was pretty standard for a long time.
Yeah, I'll work on that. I've been kind of stacked on with some things to do,
Okay,
but we'll get that going. I'll get that
thank
in
you.
place.
Thank you. Next is, are there any other public comments or comments on behalf of someone who can't be here? No.
Waiting for Gina Maria. Hang on, I got it.
Okay.
There you go. She's here.
Yay.
Yay, she's here.
Okay, somebody messaged me. Hold on.
Me.
Yay.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, welcome to 2024. Can we learn to set up a Zoom meeting with a calendar invite?
We'll see eventually. No, there's something weird with the links. It's happened in the past, so I'm aware of it. And I use the one, just so you know, I use the one directly from the downloaded agenda, not the online one, but the PDF, because I have it on my
Yeah.
big screen. And I clicked that link and it took me to the meeting. So that one seems to work, at least for me. Okay, so next item is item 7, discussion and possible action, 7A. Vote approval of the Mayor's Committee on Disability edits to the October 2nd, 2024 CART transcript. Are there any edits that need to be made or changes that anyone can see? If there's no more amendments, wait. Which one, Gina Maria?
The one on the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one that I used.
And the other two weren't, I don't think they came from you. I thought they came from the city.
Daniel sent one out. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I didn't use that one because it already has ended up below a bunch of emails. So
yeah.
if there are no changes to the transcript, CART transcript, may we have a motion to approve the CART transcript as it is, or as amended, as it is amended.
I motion to approve. This is Eli. And Daniel, can you let me in? I'm trying to join on my laptop. Thanks.
Oh, okay, let me let you in. There you go. You're in.
I second. It's Aurora.
Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and get the vote. Kathleen Gish,
Yes.
Jose Eli,
Yes.
Kendra,
Yes.
Aura.
Aurora, yes.
Yeah, Aurora. I'm gonna learn that. Angelique. She must have stepped out. Okay, Pam. Yes, she got Pam. And then Gina Maria.
Yes.
And that's it, right?
Miriam Jahar,
Yeah, I was gonna say Miriam.
Okay, sorry, Miriam. I missed you. Sorry. Yeah, Miriam. Okay, we got everyone. So now we have everyone
Okay. Thank you.
present.
Next is item 7B, City of Santa Fe Public Library Disability Awareness Planning and Year-Round Collaboration Calendar Planning. We had discussed having public tables or information tables or events even possibly at the libraries throughout the city in different months or weeks. We could do a week. But the city has asked me to please give them the calendar as soon as possible that we want, or the events that we are thinking of having, because they are already planning through the end of 2025. They're like a year ahead, so we're actually behind already. And
Yeah.
so the only 3 that I have so far is July Disability Pride and ADA Month, September National Deaf Awareness Month, and October Disability Employment Awareness Month. Do we have any other things? I gave a calendar. I'm sure it's not literally comprehensive, but it's a pretty comprehensive calendar. If there's any other things that we might want to add to ask them, or thinking of awareness events, or things to include the community, we can do all of that. But I need to know so that I can tell them so that they can be prepared. Are there any other ideas or thoughts for months or weeks or events?
Obviously, October, for Disability Employment Month. And then possibly, this is one that gets overlooked sometimes, International Day of Persons with Disabilities. That's a global day, and that's on December 3rd. And then there's Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which is GAD, and that is in May. And there's Federal Rehab 504, and I don't actually remember what month that is, but that's another good one too.
I think the 504 Rehabilitation Act was in June. I think that was when it was enacted, if I remember right.
Yep, just Googled it, June 22nd.
Yeah.
Chair, one that I was thinking is maybe Developmental Disabilities Month. It's in March. We have a high population of individuals, especially youth and young adults with developmental disabilities. So that might be another one.
Okay. Any other ideas or anyone?
Oh, another one is autism. It's in, what is it, April.
Okay.
You had a person named David who was a leader in this community. What was his last name?
McQuarrie.
Yeah. I don't know how everyone feels in the committee, but recognizing someone of that, a local caliber, local hero in the movement, I would ask
Okay.
that you consider recognizing someone like him and building on that.
He had gotten, I was going through the minutes, which are not entirely accessible. I had to OCR a lot of our old minutes, just to be able to search them. And he had gotten or what was that award called? I'm gonna butcher it. It's Muchas Gracias Awards or
Yeah,
something.
that's it.
Yes, yes, he
Yeah,
did.
he had
Yeah.
gotten it.
The other thing, way to recognize David, I think, would be to name that bus stop after him in front of the Indian Hospital when they fix it.
Oh God, that's a good one. Okay, that one.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
he fought for that until his death. I mean, it
know,
never
I know.
happened during his lifetime. We should
Yeah,
definitely
that
make
one
it-
we're having difficulty with the tribal government on that one, and I don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen with that bus stop. So, yeah,
Well, the state is involved too because
yeah,
it's
it's gotten
state
interesting.
road.
Mm-hmm. I wish they would just let us put a bus stop there.
Oh.
It's getting interesting. But anyway, yeah, that would be a good idea. And if not that one specific, a bus stop somewhere would be a good one.
Yeah, that would be the best, but I mean, he fought for that for,
But I'm saying as the committee should recognize a day also, commemorate a day of David's um, involvement, and so that every council member forward will remember that there were people here that helped get things done. And he stands out in my mind. I've never met him, but I've seen some of the things he did, and I think he should be acknowledged. Continuous.
He was very vocal, as was Terry O'Hare.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know several
Okay.
who we could honor, who absolutely supported us to be here today. I would say it that way. So the things that I have highlighted for the library for March, just as thinking of things that we might actually be able to do or ask the library of where they would have resources. And also with our committee and the needs of the community, is March is, like you said, Kendra, National Developmental Disability Awareness Month. And it's also National Brain Injury Awareness Month.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to put that in there.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah,
mentioning it.
yeah. And then I have highlighted the Autism Awareness Month. I'm gonna lose my voice. I have Older Americans Month. I don't know if that is called something else. But that's a possibility. June, Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, also Audiobook Appreciation Month, which I know the library could do if they don't already do that. Because audiobooks are a vital accessibility resource. And then July, Disability Pride Month. June would be the 504 Rehabilitation Month. And July is also the ADA anniversary. And then in the last meeting, that's not on this list that I can see, but Elijah had mentioned that there is the Deaf
Yes.
Awareness Month. So that would be included. And that's December is HIV/AIDS Awareness Month. So those are ones that we could consider asking the library. And I think that would at least put us throughout the year. It doesn't have to be every month. But I think that if we can work on getting resources, handouts, things like that for something that you want to champion to be at the library, I think that would really help them. And it would make it be more disability led, for them to have things that could put on the table or books that you were aware of, whether we have them in the library or not. I think that would be great. They could order them. So that's what I'm thinking. I need to type up that list, but that's what I'm thinking to send to the librarians. Pam, go ahead. I can't hear you.
Okay, Pam, we can't hear you. Can you turn on your volume or speaker? I mean, microphone?
Yeah, you might have your microphone off. There's a little icon that looks
looks
like a
like a
little microphone.
Yeah, on the bottom. Next to the camera.
It would be either next to the camera or next to your clock on the bottom or the menu on the bottom.
Nope.
No.
Still can't hear you, Pam. We see you talking.
Are you on your phone
There,
or your computer?
something's not on.
If you could put that in the chat, maybe we could help.
Or if she can she put what she wants to say in the chat And our chair can read that to us? Okay, is she putting it in the chat? Okay, we got something in the chat, but what is it? Okay. 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 She says, I am on the PC and I haven't been in the house for a month. And to change the volume, I need one more information on how to change the volume on my end. Ooh. Does anyone know?
So Pam, there's a little icon that looks like a little mini microphone, and it's gonna be on the bottom of your screen, most likely.
The systems tray.
Yeah, the system's tray.
You know, you have your time and the date.
On your
Then
right side, yeah.
It's on the
way
bottom right,
in the right corner.
right.
Yeah.
There you are. Can you say something? Nope.
Say testing, testing. Oh, I thought we heard you for a second. Okay, if you click on the microphone, then there's a pop-up. There should be a pop-up that allows you to control your volume.
I'm,
Almost, huh?
We heard you for a second, Pam. But keep talking. Now you're muted.
Yeah, now you're muted on your microphone.
Okay, now, try now.
okay,
Yay,
Yay!
you did it, you did it.
Can you
click
hear us now?
on make my mic muted and then unmute and it changes the volume.
No.
That's logical.
Okay,
Anyway,
you're here. Go
I'm
ahead.
here. I don't know what happened. I haven't been here to change a thing. So anyway, my question is, I got behind. Did it get noted that September is Deaf Awareness Month?
September.
Yes.
September. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will send that out to everyone before I send it to the library.
Thank you.
But it will be the exact list that I just read. I'm gonna literally copy it from the transcript when I get the transcript. So, and then I also see here Kendra adding International Disabled Authors Day celebrated on October 2nd. This day recognizes the accomplishments. It's partly covered, but I think that says creativity and hard work of published authors with disabilities and books that feature disabled characters. And I think that's great because it's the library and they're gonna love that. So yes. So I guess I'm just gonna move on. I don't think we need to really vote on this. I think that we just
No.
needed to have a discussion and agree, and we can work on this as we go, but I'm gonna give them a heads up of what we're thinking to do throughout the year. And I would hope that we are part of that process so that we have that connection with the library and also to support them, to support the disability community. So that's my hope. Are there any other comments or questions or thoughts or?
Yeah, this is Eli here. I put
Okay.
March, based on this ADA settlement that the city entered into,
Oh, God.
is a reminder. kind of funny. But yeah, folks are
I'm not gonna
interested.
say no. Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they need
kind of like,
everything anything to remind them. Yeah,
yeah,
sure. I
yeah.
mean,
Maybe that could be,
write it out and give it to Gish. Write it out and tell Gish how to title it. And then when it comes up, I'll be able to explain it.
yeah, we could put a plaque right next to
Oh,
water fountain in the library. Yeah, so for the person that was asking about the settlement, you can just Google Department of Justice ADA Santa Fe settlement, and the full settlement will pop up. It's also on ada.gov. And it's a really fascinating piece, and it's not unusual. A lot of other localities have had settlements, but that I think is a kind of a foundational piece for Santa Fe. And unfortunately, many of the things in that list have yet to be fully accomplished. So it's also a reminder that we need to go back and continue to do the work.
yes.
And Miji, to answer your question, it is a settlement agreement with the Department of Justice because of an ADA violation complaint that happened in 2001. And the original complaint, that as far as I remember it being explained to me, was that it was because the city did not have an ADA coordinator as of 2001, even though they were required to have one by 1992. And so there was no way to file a grievance in the city of Santa Fe. And so that was the initial complaint that went to the DOJ. And then they came in and only did a very small observation of what's going on. And that was identified in the settlement agreement. And they focused on, I think it was physical only, or
Yeah,
buildings.
physical,
And it was like
specifically
buildings and stuff like that. So
yeah, because the self-evaluation plan was not really put together. And that's also being worked on.
So, all right, so I will type up that list and send it to everyone when I get it. And then also send it to the library. Let's see, 7C. Sorry, I need my big screen. Review of the 2024 Mayor's Committee on Disability Strategic Plan Process Draft. And that is in your packet, and it is basically an outline at this point. A real strategic plan, which I've said numerous times, is going to need some sincere staff support.
Yes.
Which I noticed all of the other strategic plans received, so I'm not opposed to saying we need help. It's just part of the process. But I'm wondering if there's anything that anyone has to add or to make sure that there needs to be something else in here, to just start thinking of that. This is absolutely a draft. It is
It's a
not,
working document.
yeah, it's a working document. Going forward. So we have mission, executive summary, mission, vision, core values, city establishing resolution and core values, staff, who we are as committee members, brief history of the mayor's committee up to now. And then our strategic plan with our 5 priorities broken down. That include the transition plan, moving the MCD to the ADA and the ADA to the Office of Equity and Inclusion, emergency management and planning, city hall accessible, city civic engagement, and website accessibility requirements. And then the timelines, which will determine those. And then the point and process for why this is important, like all of the information about population of people with disabilities in New Mexico, and how all of this will impact the community and things like that. And then documenting actions that we've already taken. And then the next steps, which is part of our subcommittees, things that the subcommittees are going to be working on. And then updates and reports, which I'm hoping will be part of the subcommittee process as we go forward. So it's pretty brief. It's an outline. But if there's anything that's obvious that's missing, please let me know. If you think of something that might be helpful for clarifying, remember this is probably going to be presented to the governing body. So think about them as the audience, as well as the general public. What is most important for them to know about this committee, what this committee is trying to achieve, why we're trying to achieve it, things like that. Part of it is the settlement agreement.
Yeah, I'll talk about what I'm gonna do
Okay.
on when you get to my section.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to open up the attachment and I can't seem to do it.
Oh,
I
weird.
don't know why it's not doing that, but I'll check on that at my desk in the office.
Okay. Eli, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong document. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
I think you have to download it, Daniel.
Yeah, I tried to do that and it wouldn't let me. So it must be maybe because I'm on the same Wi-Fi. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know why it's not letting me.
I just did it, so.
Yeah, so that means it's working online. It's just probably what I'm doing here on my laptop.
Well, it depends. You have to click on, this is so hard. I can't believe that this is how we have to get to the documents.
Well, that's changing on the 8th. We're going to a new system. So that's supposedly going to be a better, easier, user-friendly system. We will find out.
You
it's more
don't
accessible.
sound highly encouraging. Have
Well,
you tested it?
it's actually more accessible because it's doesn't interfere like overlays and things of that nature. And we did do a test and there's some tweaks they got to do, but everything still has to be OCR'd, and that's what we're making people do. So it's working. The clerk is excited about using it. So it will be better.
I hope that it's more user
Then
friendly.
you click
That's the
on
whole
the
thing.
details, then you have to click the plus on the attachments. And then you have to click the download button at the bottom there.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be better.
Kendra, go ahead.
I'm sorry, what is OCR again?
Well, that's a good one. Optical something, something, something. Yeah, well, we'll ask Eli to say it. There you go.
Optical character recognition.
There you go. Optical character recognition. Basically recognizing the words so that we can read them. So you can search the document for words. Like if you want to find your name, you find your name so that way you can see what they're talking about, but they're talking about you.
Okay. I was like, OCR, that sounds familiar, but I don't know specifically.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm asking. Thank you for the clarification.
Optical character. Okay. I'll now remember it.
And then it's a later item, but as part of the strategic plan, I need to add the request for the $20,000. So that's one thing I'm gonna add
Yes.
as well. When we get there. I will do that after we vote to approve that
Yeah.
process.
This is Eli here. One recommendation for the strategic plan is we may want to also take a look at the mayor's committee. I'm sorry, the governor's committee on disability, GCD. They have a pretty robust strategic plan, and there's some good demographic information in there that we could kind of overlay on top of it. So I would recommend taking a look at that, and you can find that at the Governor's Commission website.
Yeah, well, don't write a book, okay?
No, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be about the same as I would say
Yeah,
the
'cause-
Women's Commission. It's pretty brief. It's not, it needs to be comprehensive though. It needs to justify the work. It
Yeah, the
needs
veterans did their
background.
presentation on theirs and they stuck to 4 pages or less. And then they did their presentation in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
And
it was
that's what
very
the governing
straightforward.
body has asked for us to do,
Yeah,
because when
yeah,
it gets to be too long, I guess it becomes too much.
yeah. And also you want to make it concise, direct, focused, because that's what the other group has done, and it was received well that way. I mean, because you had the 1, 2, 3, what they did and what they're doing, and they do it quarterly.
Yeah.
They don't meet with the governing body quarterly, but at least once a year, they get to get in front of the governing body. And if you want to do that presentation, I would say the best time to do it would be in July when we're doing all that activity. It'll put everything in place in perspective.
Yeah.
Unless you think it's better to do it another time.
No, I think early July, like the first meeting in July would probably be really, really helpful to giving them an understanding of what, and the community as well, an understanding of why we're doing everything that we're doing in the community. And kind of tying all of this work together with all of us. So yeah. But that is an extra thing in July, which
Am I missing something? But it's missing the executive summary, the mission, vision, right? We need
Yeah,
yeah,
this is a
no, it's just
draft.
outlined. I haven't written anything yet. It's just outlined.
Oh,
Yeah, this is
okay.
a draft, a very rough draft, and it's in work in progress. So if you want to write the executive summary, hey,
I
okay.
got it right here.
Well,
I
don't
do.
copy it from somebody else because I don't want to be told you guys just copied it from the governor's committee. I don't want to hear that. Okay. So make sure we're not using artificial intelligence and taking credit for it. Because
No, I'm gonna write it, and it's gonna be including things that we've said in past meetings as well.
there you go. Let's
Because
make it
we've
unique and our own.
yeah, we've talked about it in past meetings, and I've been going through, like, I downloaded all of like the history of the meetings that I could, and I've been OCRing them and pulling things out, and also making sure that we have been following up, because that's one of the things that can get really overwhelming is when we go through our past meetings, we have a tendency to just move forward, and then we don't make sure that we've followed up on things that we've done in the past that didn't get followed up on. So I've been trying really hard to pull those things together. And so there's going to be at least 2 or 3 things on the next agenda that are those kinds of catching up items that kind of fell off for a bit.
And I'll tell you this, I mean, I personally appreciate you doing that. I know it's a lot of work on your part, and I'm sincerely grateful you're doing that because I have a lot to do, and when you do something like that, that really helps.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
it's also, it's just things that, like, you know, like one of them is like paratransit and senior transportation, you know, like we did not do a follow-up on that, and it literally has dropped off. So, and you know, Aurora, you had asked me to also bring up a transportation issue. So that's going to be in next month's meeting. So things like that. But yeah, and I used to be, when I first became chair, I was actually really good at making notes and keeping a list of things that we were discussing, but the last year has been a little bit hard to keep up. But I'm doing it now, so. So the things I have to add are, we can mention the settlement agreement, adding the $20,000, to look at the GCD strategic plan for demographic information, to possibly present this in July. And there was one other thing. What was it?
The executive summary.
Oh, the executive. No, it wasn't the executive summary because that's already on there.
Okay.
I'll remember it.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Kathleen. Eli gave us, I believe, is the mission statement or vision. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
what exactly you meant to put in the
Yeah. Well, I just did another one. I'm pulling from the website, but I don't know. They're just rolling off. These are fun to do for me. So anyway, I can help.
Okay. And then also, Kathleen, if you like, if there's certain parts that you would like me to help out in writing,
Okay.
I can do that. Just let
I
me
would
know
appreciate that. Yeah.
what parts you would need some assistance with.
Yeah. And if anyone else, like if you want to work on a topic or a subject, or even pulling it out from, I know we have a transcribed version of our establishing resolution, so that we can put some of that in here without having to OCR it, because the document that I have is like very crooked and will not OCR. But there's things like that. We also could add the history of staff, like who have been the prior ADA coordinators and things like that, recognizing everybody. So think about that. But I think if you have a section, if you want to work on getting me statistics and data, thinking of things that we have done in the past that you feel are important that we have achieved. I think that would be great. I know a lot of you have been on this committee for a lot longer than I have. So that would be fantastic. So think about that and let me know what you're thinking. Because I think that if this is a collaborative effort, I think that it would be really great. Yeah. Okay.
Aurora can proofread it because she's excellent.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to think of, like, I think I'm gonna want a summary for the subcommittees. Of what we're doing in each subcommittee and how it ties to our priorities, things like that. The importance of collaborating with city staff. So yeah, I've tried to write as much of my thoughts down as I could. So hopefully that's helpful.
Thank God. So I have this stack on my desk of ideas and it just like keeps getting bigger. They're all notes, handwritten. Oh,
I can relate.
I'm scared to ask.
no, I seriously look at it. This is it.
Whereas ketamine therapy,
Oh my
almost
God,
immediately
my
after my first session,
phone.
I started
What is
liking
going on? I'm sorry. Look at this.
All right, so I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
Next item. But please think about this and let me know, because to me, this is a work in progress. But I would like for it to be done, I would say by May if possible, like if we can really work together. It's not going to be as polished as it needs to be because we don't have a budget and we don't necessarily have the staff. Although Daniel, I'm looking at you for that.
Yeah, I could feel you looking at me. I'll talk about what's going on my section and possibly if everything works out, that could be possible.
Okay. Yeah, because like one thing that I noticed for the other strategic plans, all of them that I've seen so far, they all hired an actual professional person to put them together. So I know that they probably interviewed, worked it through of what should be in there, but then an actual paid professional person who is used to doing strategic plans did the actual final work. And that's kind of where I would like to have that, if that's possible.
Yeah, we could contract that out if we have the budget.
Yeah. Hence why we need the money.
That's
We've
why.
needed that money for a long time, just saying. All right. So next item is 7D. Vote for the mayor's committee to return to adherence of terms within the establishing resolution. So in the last, I want to say year and a half, probably, we have done things differently. Well, it's really honestly been since I became chair because of the pandemic. We've had to do things a lot differently and deviate from the terms within the establishing resolution. The one thing that I would ask is that we remain remote for accessibility.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think if we return to the adherence of terms within our establishing resolution, because the city is back to being functional in person again, everything more or less in the community is back to what it should be, so we can access resources and people are more accessible again, and we can work as subcommittees and, even meet in person or meet by Zoom or, whatever needs to happen. We have those resources now. And so I think that if we work as chair and vice chair and then subcommittees the way that it used to, in particular, those are like the main things I can think of that changed. I'm trying
That
to
would
think.
be consistent with the other committees
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's what we want, that continuity. That's what I'm recommending also.
Yeah. And so, and it worked better because then because I'm doing too much right now. And I've been doing too much. And so, but it was out of necessity at first. And now with Daniel being here and being a consistent person more, I think going back to how we used to do things will work again. We have city staff to go to for resources if we need, for connections with the city, which we didn't really have before. And so, and if anyone has any issues, please let me know. But I think that the process to return to how we used to do things and test it out and see if it works, because I don't hear any other committees having an issue
No, there are no issues.
with that process at all. And I'm seeing BPAC working really well within that process as well, which is really what made me think, well, we could do this. So anyway, I guess are there any questions or?
So
No, I'd just like to add that you're as chair, you've become more focused, more structured, and the additional what was done previously, the change isn't necessary anymore. So going to both chair and vice chair is consistent with what the city wants.
Right.
And let's go back to that. If there's any additional needs, that's what the committees are for,
Right.
the subcommittees.
Yeah. And that's what I set up the subcommittees, which are in the establishing resolution within my authority, to focus on those 5 areas that we had agreed on, in the subcommittees, and that's going to be our primary focus within this committee. And of
Perfect.
course, we can bring up other issues as we always have. It
Yes.
won't be just focusing on those things, but as far as the subcommittees, that will be ongoing. Our priorities will be ongoing. And then any other little needs that need to be addressed throughout the year, we will absolutely do that. And we can still bring them up as individuals as well. It's not only within the subcommittees.
Yes.
But that's what I'm thinking, and it's literally to return the mayor's committee to being in alignment with with BPAC in particular, which was looking at their subcommittees. So our subcommittees also predominantly align with their subcommittees. So if our subcommittees need to meet with their subcommittees, we can do that.
Excellent.
And so
Perfect.
I did that on purpose. So anyway, any comments or questions? Kendra, go ahead.
Hi. So the question, what is it I have in particular, because as you mentioned, Kathleen, me and you have been chairs for quite some time since pandemic, or since before the pandemic. I'm not even too sure anymore. It's been so long. Is this where we could possibly, like, prior to this, I believe you and Aurora were the chairs at that point, the chair and vice chair. So then would we be voting again to, have new chairs, or is this just us?
Well, that's usually the decision of the mayor who the chair is going to be.
So for this committee, we hold, and that's in May. So right now, the chair and vice chair are voted on in May or June. I don't remember exactly which month, but it was May or June. So we would continue that process. Everything that we've done was acknowledged to be temporary, as it was from the start, because of the pandemic, because of issues with the city, because of lack of staff, all addressing all these different needs. But it's really honestly calmed down, and I'm happy to say that.
I agree.
So yeah. So it's, and working with BPAC, I'm seeing how they are kind of allocating out the duties and the needs of the committee to both the community and to their subcommittees, and remembering how the mayor's committee was years back. I mean, like I said, I've had interaction with the mayor's committee on disability since 2014. And through periods of time where it was not very active and periods of time where it was very active. And the subcommittees themselves, that model of having the work being done by the subcommittees actually is more efficient because the subcommittees can work on that outside of meetings. And the
Correct.
subcommittees can meet at any time. They don't need to have a public meeting. Whereas a lot of the things that we've been having to work on have been having to be done in these public meetings because they needed to be having everyone be involved, or I was running it. And so I needed feedback from everyone else. So I couldn't meet with everyone. And I was like reaching out individually to a few people for feedback, like you in particular, Kendra, or
Mhm.
Aurora as well, and Eli, to get feedback on how to proceed, and then bringing it to the committee. Whereas now it's going to be subcommittees doing all that. So it's
Okay.
not going to be me, having to be the person to make it move forward. And that was primarily because we didn't have city staff.
Okay. No worries. Thank you. I just wanted that little bit of clarification. Thank you.
This is Eli here. This is a really good conversation. I do think, though, that it's incumbent on the city for support. And don't just mean you, Daniel. I mean, whoever you can muster also from the city to support the MCD, because the subcommittees will only be effective if they have a facilitator. And it doesn't mean that they have to necessarily be in every meeting, but they have to kind of create a structure that allows for the subcommittee to
A point of
exist.
contact. Yeah,
Yeah,
depending
that
on
would be
the,
the chair. So each
the-
subcommittee is going to have a chairperson.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
and then the
I'm
chair
just
will
gonna
work with
flag
me if
that-
you need
that-
to touch base with a
That's a little
staff member.
challenge. Yeah, I only got 1 more minute, guys. I have to hop off. But I'm gonna flag that because we're volunteer based, it's
Mhm.
gonna be very hard for folks to be able to really, attend meetings, actually have substantive discussions that produce a product, whatever that is. So my point is that we would need really, for this to work, honestly, I think we really need some city support to help manage the process, little reminders, help with calendaring, because there's so many, we're volunteers, so the bandwidth is limited. I'm all for it. Trust me, I really believe in it. But without city support and constant contact, I just don't think that we'll be able to muster the energy to have really productive subcommittees. So my fear is that we're setting ourselves up to rely on our subcommittees without enough city support. City support is key to getting this work done.
Well, that's going to be up to the individual subcommittees and the leadership of that particular subcommittee. That individual can coordinate with me, and I can put them in contact with the department that would be involved or affected. And then we can open up channels of communication for those subcommittees to reach out to individuals within the city structure. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to coordinate those efforts, and so that the subcommittees can go to the staff and not be facing a brick wall. And then we'll make those introductions.
Mhm.
And that's what we can do. I can help facilitate that. So that way it's not frustrating. And in fact, we get staff to do more than what the committee members can do themselves because we have access to the information directly.
And that's what I'm seeing in
So I-
BPAC, just so you know.
Guys, I apologize, I have to hop off.
That's
So,
okay.
I really like that idea. I support this idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you can probably identify city staff
Yeah,
that
we
the
will do that.
chair can work with, that way they can develop that relationship. So for example, in emergency management, I'll just be a little frank here, we've been asking Daniel to have that meeting on the ADA kits for a year plus. We never had it, right? I know
We
everyone.
tried, and no one could get a meeting together with me.
Well,
We
I'm always
tried that with
available. No,
Aurora,
no.
right?
Hold up. No, I mean, I asked for it, right? My point is that if we need effective city staff to help support the volunteers, you can't put the onus on Kathleen or Kendra or Pam. You need city support. And with city support, we can provide our expertise and our advice and our advisement. But without that, it's going to be very, very hard to make these subcommittees effective. I've seen it with this group. Kathleen, Kendra, people, Pam, Gina Maria, they have Aurora. Everyone here has excellent ideas, but we need the support of the city to help facilitate and make it effective. So I gotta go. Apologies, guys. But this
Yeah,
is a
thank
good,
you, Eli.
thank you, Daniel.
Okay,
Yeah, and
well,
so
let me
to
speak to that a little bit.
Go ahead.
The kits themselves did improve to be useful. Brian and I saw their limitations on them, so the training on the kit was very, very limited, and then they themselves have become obsolete. And based on that, we were able to get portable, what do you call it? The system for people who are hard of hearing and deaf, and we were able to get those portable systems, and that is available for training if we want to do that. No one's asked for it. We have it available. And then we got together with Pam on the system in-house, a fixed loop system, and that was difficult coordinating a meeting with that. Remember, Pam, and getting everyone involved to correct that. So it was difficult. It is difficult, but we did do it. It couldn't involve too many people because everyone's schedule couldn't meet when we needed to meet. And so that's what we're doing. But we'll always try to do that. Like if we have to meet with land use, like we did earlier, we can do that still. Other departments are a little more flexible. Library is more flexible and willing to meet. So just because once it didn't work out doesn't mean it won't work out in the future. It will. The city government has growing back into some normalcy with new staff coming on board. So now we're able to have that bandwidth. So give us more chances to work with you.
And that was my plan, was that if people didn't get a hold of the city staff that they needed, we're gonna have monthly follow-ups. So the agenda will be our discussion and possible action items.
Yes.
And then it will be followed by item 8, which will be matters of subcommittees. And so there will basically be subcommittee reports every month. Just a follow-up. You can say we didn't have time to meet. That's perfectly legitimate. That's valid. That's perfectly fine. This is not saying you have to meet every single month. It's
No.
just saying if you've met, tell us what you've been doing. Tell us, an update. If you have something positive to say about the city and city staff, give us that update. If you've had an issue and you've had challenges getting a hold of someone, give us that update, because then I can literally say, hey, come to our meeting next month. The subcommittee hasn't been able to get a hold of you,
And in the beginning, what I'll do, let's say a subcommittee is made up and it's to coordinate with library. I will give you the contact of that person. And then when you send an email to them, CC me on it, and I'll follow up as a comment to saying, please meet with them. If you need me there, I'll be there. And then we can all, push those efforts. They have time, they can meet with us. We just have to work out when. And if we have to do it by Zoom, we'll do it by Zoom if we have to. Sometimes that works out best for everyone because everyone's running from meeting to meeting. And maybe sometimes your daily lives get in the way. And so maybe a Zoom, it works better, faster. Sometimes that helps. And we'll get it together. That's what I'm just telling you. We're willing to work that way as fast as we can, because sometimes you guys are at work and you can't leave your job, and we'll meet with you during your lunch hour if we have to. But we can do it. That's all I'm saying. We can do it.
Yeah, and I'm not even expecting cohesive meetings. If you need
No.
to text each other, if you need to call someone and, do individual calling because you can't meet at the same time, that's fine. I've experienced all of that. So I understand how all of that works. I just know that that the other committees are doing this model. We used to do this. It's in alignment with our establishing resolution to do this process this way. And really, honestly, if you have ideas or thoughts, go for it. Like, to be creative, go for it. The subcommittees will be established after this meeting. And outside of that, however you can make it work, make it work. Just, it's yours. Okay. So I guess, may we have a motion to approve the Mayor's Committee on Disability to return to the adherence of terms within the establishing resolution, in particular the chair and vice chair, which would be myself, Kathleen Gish, and Kendra Garcia as vice chair, and then to use the subcommittee model we will retain the remote attendance, which is not identified in the establishing resolution because it was like 2006. So when that was created, otherwise, if we move forward, I will make sure that that gets in there. May we have a motion to approve that?
I, this is Kendra. Sorry. My watch just went off. So yes, this is Kendra. I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I second, excuse me,
Okay,
Gina Marie.
I'll go ahead and ask. Kathleen Gish?
Yes.
Okay, we know Eli's not here.
Yeah.
Kendra Garcia?
Yes.
Aurora Bleck?
Yes.
Angelique Montoya Chavez? Okay. Pam Parfit?
Yes.
And then Gina Maria?
Yes,
Miriam?
She called me. I think that she got dropped. I think her connection dropped.
Okay, so let's see. One,
I don't
two,
see
three.
Angelique either.
4, 5. We got 5 votes.
Yeah,
So we're
okay.
good. It passes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't see Angelique anymore, and I know Miriam called me, so I know she's not on
Okay,
it.
there we go.
Okay,
Okay,
so
yeah, you-
next is 7E. Voting to implement the 2024 Mayor's Committee on Disability Subcommittees to achieve our priorities and the 5 key areas of priorities. There are 4 subcommittees that address the 5 key areas of priorities. 4 of which are the Mayor's Committee, 1 of which is yours, Daniel.
yes.
Kendra, go ahead.
So sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Apparently there's a few people waiting to be let
Oh.
into the meeting.
I don't see anybody.
Eli said we had a
I wonder if
few.
they used the other link.
I'm
Kendra, can you
wondering.
tell them to use the link that's in the PDF agenda?
Yeah, I'll tell him.
Yeah, because they might have the wrong link. Because I don't see anyone coming in, trying to come in. I let somebody in. Okay, I'm still waiting. Nothing so far. I have 11 participants. And no one's waiting.
It
That's
looks
strange.
like Angelique won't be able to because her power keeps shutting off.
Wow. It's still
That-
snowing.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. I'm worried about losing power.
Yes.
The snow is
Okay.
very, very heavy.
If someone
and wet.
comes, if someone tries to get in, I'm looking at it. I'll
Okay.
let them in. So
Okay.
I guess you're going to, what were you doing?
So 7E, vote to implement the Mayor's Committee on Disability Subcommittees. There are 4 subcommittees that were identified. I had requested of everyone, and emailed everyone, the ideas of the subcommittees to address the 5 areas of priorities for the Mayor's Committee, for 24-25. And there are 5 key areas, and Daniel, the one that's not ours is the transition plan, but the rest are ours to address. And the subcommittees that were identified that could address these needs are the Policy and Planning Subcommittee,
Yeah.
Emergency Planning Subcommittee, Civic Engagement Subcommittee, and then Miriam asked me specifically if she could do her Traumatic Brain Injury Subcommittee, which we had voted to approve earlier. And she gave a very good reasoning. We had a very good call about that. So I am approving that for her. And that will actually fill in some gaps that we may experience in the other 3 subcommittees to make sure that our meetings and everything are accessible to people with traumatic brain injury. And
Well, if
also,
anything, this committee is community driven.
yes,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so we will say yes, right?
Yes, yes. And so yeah, and I absolutely support that. And I gave that option to everyone, just so you know, it wasn't just Miriam. Miriam just spoke up. And so who I have, sorry, have the list. It's hard to think when you can't breathe right. So for the policy and planning subcommittee, that deals with resolutions, ordinances, and reviews of policy as an example, and anything related to that. I have Aurora, myself, and then citizen member Elijah Valdez requested to be on that subcommittee. And then for emergency planning subcommittee, we have Eli and Angelique, and they're going to deal with city and state emergency management process. And then 3, civic engagement subcommittee, general outreach, working together with other committees, committee meeting access. It will include Spanish, ASL card, it's basic language access, the website. If the website is too much for you guys, please let me know. But that's part of communications and engaging with the community. But because I'm partially blind, I'm more than happy to go on there and test things myself. I'm gonna do it anyway. So I can definitely check on a lot of the accessibility things. And for that, we have Kendra, Pam, and Gina Maria. And then for the brain injury subcommittee, traumatic brain injury subcommittee, I wrote it wrong on here. We have Miriam. And then I just wrote a very brief subcommittee duties. The subcommittees will meet and report monthly. And I actually thought about that, and I thought there's no way that everyone's going to be able to meet monthly, so that's fine. But we will be reporting monthly in public meetings, updating on the status, shared findings, any research or barriers that include city staff, getting ideas for feedback, anything else related to the process to achieve the priority. So anyway, it's just a basic process. It's very standard. Gina Maria, go ahead.
Do you think that the website needs to be translated to Spanish?
Daniel, that's a question for
What was
you.
that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you think that it would be good to have the website translated to Spanish?
The website can translate to Spanish right now.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a little button that you go up to. And
Yeah,
it'll
you
change
toggle
everything.
the button, it toggles the language, right?
It changes the whole thing to Spanish right now as is.
I've never used it. I've never even looked at it. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and what I'm recommending in the future is that we have something called Recite Me, so that it could read the website to you, and it also can read it in multiple languages. So that way, that will also address not just people with disabilities, but people with literacy issues, that they can go through the website and it could be read to them and they can understand what they're seeing and what they're doing. And the city clerk is in favor of that. She really likes it because of the multiple languages. And so we're looking that seriously into doing that. But before we do it, I want to bring it to this committee to review, to see how it works. So that way you guys are on board with it. We don't want another over. That's just the thing we don't want. Right now, I've only received 3 complaints about the website related to accessibility, because we have that portion where you can complain. Only 3 people complained, and it has not been an accessibility issue. It's always been about content not being there, but not because it's an accessibility issue. So far, everyone is probably able to access the information in an accessible manner. But if it ever comes up that they can't, we will know.
Yeah.
They will tell us.
It's working better for me without the overlay, just so you
And so
know.
that's why we wanted to keep it that way. Recite Me will have a magnifier and also verbalize what's on the screen.
Okay.
And that's it. No, I don't think anything more would be helpful. I think it'd be harder.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. So yeah, and if there's anything that comes up, just let me know. If there's something that if it's too much that you're dealing with, we can create another subcommittee, or I can take on it more things. I'm trying to lessen what I'm doing as well, but I'm
Yes.
more than happy to help. If there's something that needs to be reviewed or if information needs to be found, I'm absolutely here to help. But I'm going to be doing more of a role of the chair again, which I need. So it's making things move forward for the most part. And orchestrating with the city and city staff to make sure that, like Daniel said, that we are all collaborating together because this has to be a community effort. So I agree with Eli on that. It has to be all of us giving each of our own effort to this. It can't just be the disabled community. It can't just be city staff. It has to be all of us working together.
Yeah, and also I would recommend, I mean, I know Pam works with me well with things involving the hearing community, but if she wants to get involved in something else, I would encourage that beyond that, so she can also cross-train herself and others can do the same thing, learn about the hearing community as well too. I mean, get involved in something that will stretch your knowledge base. I mean, so involve yourself. Okay? And that's
Yeah,
how
and
we're
Pam, the
yeah.
other thing I wanted to add was that for this subcommittee, if you know people who want to be involved in accessible public meetings, please bring them, include them in the subcommittee meetings. That's why they exist. And like we included Elijah Valdez in the policy and planning subcommittee. That is what the beauty of subcommittees is, that they can involve the community. So if you know anyone who wants to be involved, please let them know that they are more than welcome and equally as welcome in these meetings.
So
Anything else? Go ahead.
does that include people that are here that are not part of the committee? If you would like to be
Yes.
on a committee, please let us know because we would welcome
Yes.
public participation.
Yeah, we need it. We literally need the community to have a voice and to be involved and to have that shared collaboration of addressing these issues so that to make sure that they work for the community and the people that are affected by these things. So that's exactly what I'm envisioning with these subcommittees, is that it is community led. It is absolutely led by the people who are affected by these needs and working together to address them and make sure that they all work for us and are addressed by the city together. So yeah, and I don't know if I have anything else to add. I think that's all my notes. So with that, may we have a motion to approve implementing the 2020?
Their hand up, sorry.
Pam, go ahead.
I had to get the captioning under you and I was late when you said I don't have to do something. I got the rest of it about community involvement, but I didn't get your lead in. I wasn't able to get your captions under your face in time.
For me or Daniel?
You.
Me?
It was Daniel, and then you started talking and you said,
oh,
Pam,
sorry, yeah.
and I was still on Daniel and I missed all of what you said at first.
I don't even remember. So
you
sorry.
said something about I didn't have to attend something. I wasn't sure what you were saying. And so I wanted to make it clear. I wanted to be clear.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on what I said, okay?
Okay.
I really am. I'm like really like out of it from not being able to breathe. So that's
okay.
You were talking about the structure of the committees and how we didn't have to meet every month, but that it would help and that we'll report back and that we want community engagement or so on the community.
That was exactly it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Then she went through each committee and who was on it and what the intention is.
I got all that. It was just a very recent, when she first spoke after Daniel, that's what I didn't have yet. So we're good.
Was she talking about members of the community being involved? Was that it?
No, I got that part. It obviously wasn't that important.
Okay.
Okay.
So may we have a motion to implement the 2024 Mayor's Committee on Disability Subcommittees to achieve our priorities?
I move.
Gina Maria.
Gina Maria.
Gina Maria. Who seconds it?
I second Aurora.
Aurora. Okay. Someone's dog is barking. Okay. Kathleen Gish.
Yes.
Kendra Garcia,
Yes.
Aurora Blake.
Aurora Black says yes.
Okay, Pam Parfit
Yes.
and Gina Maria,
Yes.
Miriam.
Yes.
All right, Miriam's on board. I knew it. All right. Okay, so we got what we need.
All right, thank you. And I will send you all the information and everything, and if you need help with setting that up, I do remember how the subcommittees were set up, and I also know that I can reach out to the BPEC committee and get feedback of what's working for them and any ideas and things like that. So we have support. All right, so next is 7F, and it is, I just wanted to state that, since I have been working on the Nothing About Us Without Us resolution and identifying things, I'm going to formally assign that to the subcommittee and just give that to the subcommittee to work on it from here on out. So it's not just going to be me adding to a list. It's going to be the entire subcommittee.
And anyone on that subcommittee, feel free to involve me in your meetings.
Okay.
So we can put something together that's gonna work.
And
I
that's
can
one
tell-
of my plans, is to also reach out to specific governing body members that are affected by this. That will be like one in particular, I can say, Counselor Castro with Spanish. I would like feedback on that section, things like that. So, and if there's anyone who, is affected by a specific area, we will review these policies before they move forward to the governing body. But I want everyone to have feedback on their section. I also know that Elijah Valdez wants to review and make sure that it is accessible for deaf and hard of hearing people. I know Pam, you would want to be involved in that as well. So that's fine. That can all happen, and it will happen. And it's, to me, this is a community collaboration to make this resolution work and to move forward to make sure that we all have our accessibility needs met in public meetings and in city events. So, but that's going to be now formally assigned to the Policy and Planning Subcommittee. So I just wanted to say that. Next item is 7G, vote for annual MCD meeting calendar for 2025. And Daniel had reminded me, normally I would do this by myself and actually be emailing everyone, but it has been so hectic, and October was such a hectic month that I totally spaced it. But Daniel stated that the city needs our 2025 calendar for our meetings. And so I don't see that this time is an issue for anyone. If it is, please let me know. But my understanding is that this time has been working for us for a while now. And so I wrote out the dates. The proposed dates, if we keep the same time, first Wednesday of the month from 3 to 5 p.m. would be January. We would have no meeting. February 5th, March 5th, April 2nd, May 7th, June 4th, July 2nd, August 6th, September 3rd, October 1st, November 5th, and December 3rd.
From 3 to 5.
Yeah, from 3 to 5. And so I'm wondering if there are any objections, and if not, may we have a motion to approve the 2025 calendar?
I so move.
Pam, who seconds?
I'll second.
Oh,
Gina Maria. Okay, so Kathleen Gish,
Yes.
Kendra Garcia,
yes.
R.R. Black. Is she there?
Yeah. Aurora, you're on mute.
Aurora says yes.
Okay, Angelique Montoya Chavez. I know you're there.
Yes.
Pam Parfit,
Yes.
Gina Maria,
Yes.
and Miriam.
Yes.
Okay, we got everyone. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 7H, approval of the letter regarding snow removal for city to distribute to the general public. And Daniel had written this out. And looking at the logos, it made me remember that one of the things we had always discussed was that the mayor's committee needs a logo. So just, it's in here. It's gonna be on an agenda at some point.
Oh, someone's got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you guys vote on this, and I have similar comments on the sidewalk obstruction. But my question is that a couple of times in this thing, you talk about mobility aids. And snow and ice is not just for people that are using a wheelchair or a walker or whatever. There's blind people, there's people with dementia, and they don't use mobility aids. Is that confusing to put this in writing this way?
No, we're just
Because-
in the snow
Because
removal.
I think the law just says you have to clear the sidewalks from snow and ice. It has nothing to do with mobility aids.
Well, that's just creating an understanding as to why. But predominantly what we're asking them to do is specifically remove snow and ice. So obstructions are a separate item, and we're also created a flyer for that separate item and sent like
No,
in this.
Daniel, I understand that, but if we're talking about the very first paragraph, accumulated snow and ice make it challenging and sometimes impossible for folks who use wheelchairs, crutches, or other mobility aids.
Mhm.
That is true.
Yeah.
But snow and ice is also dangerous for people who have other disabilities that do not require. And I have to tell you, in my neighborhood, when I've tried to get neighbors to fix their sidewalks,
Mhm.
I have been told I don't see anybody using a wheelchair.
Yeah, that's not the point.
So I just want to be clear
Okay.
that I think the law has to do with snow and ice, without the additional caveat of mobility aids. That's just my opinion, and I could be wrong, but
Yeah,
think
let me
that's how
revisit
the law reads.
that item now that you've brought that up and how people can say that, but that's not a defense if there is a problem and then we have to issue a fine to a homeowner for not doing that. That wouldn't be a defense. Well, there's nobody here in a wheelchair. No, that's not excusable. That they would still be required to pay the fine. We're going to be stepping up our enforcement on those violations, and that is down the road. I mean, I'll talk more on that subject when I get to my part, but yes, I'll take that into consideration on if we can relanguage that snow removal to include other potential disabilities, other disabilities that can be affected.
With physical and other disabilities.
Yeah, we'll do that.
That'd be great. I'm just saying that.
Thank you. I mean,
Yep.
but thank
No,
you. I
it
mean,
helps.
Yeah, no, that's
It
why
does.
we're doing this meeting. That's exactly why we're reviewing this, is to see what is not
I
included.
Comments
just
that you
didn't want
gave.
you to vote on something that I think might be technically not completely accurate.
This is not a final, and we're
Okay.
always welcome. We always welcome additional changes if we can do that, and we will. But I have to think about how we can relanguage it and then send it up the chain so they could change the language.
That would be great. I would appreciate it. Thank
But I
you.
thank you. Okay, and Pam, I guess.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
like to second what Meiji is saying.
Oh.
Just think of moms with babies in strollers. It's impossible to go anywhere in this city with a stroller and your little kids. You're gonna make people into wheelchair bound people.
And the thing
But
is too,
strollers are impossible, and that has nothing to do with a disability.
like my mom has a rolling cart that she uses to get food because she can't lift heavy bags anymore. And she needs the sidewalks cleared for that reason as well. So yeah, there are numerous needs. It's not just what is stated. And so I've written all these down. And I think Daniel, if you send me a draft, I can work on it with you as well.
Okay.
To make sure that that the language is more broad and inclusive of different types of, I think it's good to include examples, because a lot of people will just say, well, why do I have to do that? But I think if they understand, that they are creating a pathway for people to use, maybe they'll start caring, you know?
And everyone has a copy of this flyer. If you want
Yeah.
to, you don't need to get on the computer and change it. You want to scratch on it and then send a copy, take a picture if you need to and send it to me. I will take your comments. I will try to relanguage it. Everyone's comments and contribution is accepted. And then we'll bring it back. And then if everyone likes what they see, the final product, then we'll send that on up to the chain and change it so that it meets the need. Okay, so never feel like you can't contribute a change like that. On the item that I'm gonna be talking about down the road on this agenda, same applies. If you see language and you don't like it, let me know. Or if you think something could be added, understand there's limited space, so we can't write a book. We're trying to keep it to a one flyer because eventually I want to translate all of this individual flyers into Spanish and then put it out to other languages because there's more than just one language, and at least minimum Spanish. So let's get this handled together. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, BG and Pam. I really appreciate both of your comments. Yeah, and I'm trying to read it too and thinking about, you know, we're communicating to people who basically are not complying with this. So how do we word it in a way that is compelling so that they feel
I was asked to, it's a friendly reminder, but also remind them of the consequences.
right,
And so I try to keep it positive
right.
and not bad people. You know, we're
Right.
trying to explain that there's a need
Yeah,
to.
like to me, I feel like we should be expressing that they are we're
The
all part of a community and we all should be contributing to community access and inclusion.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't know how we can word that in there, but I think things like that. Pam, you have your hand up.
Yes, I would like to leave you all with an image to say how this is a community problem. Think of Farolito Walk, the big community
yeah.
celebration on December 24th. Well, they clear Canyon Road and a few other streets, but park and try to access Canyon Road without falling, slipping, sliding on all of the roadways and especially the sidewalks where people have maybe been away for the holiday. It snowed, nobody clears it. And you can't get your strollers through, people can't walk on it. It's a really big public celebration, but getting to it is the problem. So I don't know if you can get an image of in people's minds of come and celebrate. So help everyone be safe in this long-term, long-lasting tradition of Santa Fe.
Yeah.
We could have a separate flyer for that when the Farolito Walk happens. We can make something like that for a notice that goes out with the city of please clear your sidewalks so that people can participate in this community event.
So that people with
Absolutely we can.
strollers and
Wagons
wagons. Yeah.
get through. It's a
And children with children. Yeah.
Yeah, we can make a Farolito themed flyer, Daniel, for that.
Yes.
So, I
And
mean, it can basically be the same thing, but themed for
Yeah.
Farolito.
Try to keep it the same because we're trying to keep the same message. Just change the seasonal thing and then we'll do it.
Yeah.
And then send it to me and if I got to improve it a little, I'll run it by you guys again and we'll do it. It's coming up soon, so
Yeah, it needs to be December at the very
yeah,
least.
and it
We have
doesn't have to
hold a
be voted
special
on,
meeting
so
for
don't
it.
worry. It doesn't have to be voted on. I will make the changes, and if I make a mistake and it goes out bad, we always have next year. We'll
I
get
can put
better.
it on the agenda and make you take accountability for it.
I'll take accountability. I mean, but at least I'll try to do something. Okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that very
I'd
much.
rather fail trying to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Gina Marie, you had your hand up.
Oh. Yeah, I tried to go and do something this past week downtown and parking was horrible and then it wasn't even that far downtown. Finally I decided to park someplace that I knew would be safe and it was like in a little parking place. I'm kind of creative sometimes. And then I got out and I was like a half a block from where I was going and I couldn't get there because the sidewalk was it like went along and then there was a drain pipe and a drop of like 6 inches and I mean, it was like going over a freaking mountain for me. Like, well, there you go. No phone banking with the Dems this year.
So Gina Marie, when that happens, send me a picture and tell me where that is, and I will be happy to document it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Angelique, I believe you were go ahead, Angelique.
Right, sorry, my power was cutting in and out. So when we're talking about these sidewalks, are they residential sidewalks? Are they only business sidewalks? Is it
All
just for a
All of
special
them.
event?
all of them.
So if we have people who are low income or have disabilities and you're, um, are we gonna hurt the disability community by doing something like this? Because
So that's one thing that that we need to discuss. Right now there's Daniel, you can you can discuss this. Right now there is very limited enforcement occurring. They are planning to make it increased enforcement.
I understand
Right
that.
now it's an awareness thing.
This-
Right now it's not being enforced with any sort of fines or anything. It's a request. So, and a notice that's going out. What's
So if
going to
we have
happen?
people,
Yeah, go ahead.
if we have people with disabilities who cannot clear their sidewalks,
That's
who,
understood.
okay, who financially cannot afford to pay these fines. You know how these limited incomes are, Kathleen, and people,
There's an appeal process for that. So if they identify themselves as having that type of a concern, we will not enforce that fine on that individual because that's a reasonable request that they can't do it. But we would ask them to disclose that they have a disability. That's why, like we do with trash removal, we assist people who identify the need to have their trash removed and assistance. We can do the same thing for this removal of obstacles, and then we can determine how we can remove the obstacles, either be by staff or we have neighbors help out. Something
yeah,
like
I'm
that.
Daniel,
just
would there
worried
be a
about
way?
Go ahead.
Angelique, go ahead.
No, I just said I would be worried about that. You know, I don't want to hurt the very community that we serve
No.
by with fees or notices. Maybe they don't get their homebound and they don't get those notices on their door or something. And in the long run, we hurt those people. That's what I'm worried about.
We're gonna send them by mail. Those notices go by mail. They go to the owner. And then also when we send these flyers, I talked to the department that handles water bills, and they're going to mail these out in the water bills. And that way people get them. And that's what we want. It's just to give them a fair warning. Hey, this is happening. Please try to be courteous and remove all barriers that are your sidewalk. And that's what we're asking them to do. If someone is cited with a violation and there's a fine or something, then at that moment they can contact us. They can even contact me and we can coordinate on, oh, they have a disability and they are unable to do it, or they have limitations they can't do it continuously. And then we will look at what is the barrier, first of all, and then see what can be done to improve it. And there's always going to be a situation where somebody who's not disabled or not elderly, who just financially can't afford to fix their sidewalk. And that's going to be also addressed in the appeal process. So that's what we have to talk about because that's a real situation. And as we go towards enforcement, we're going to run into those things. So yes, we're cognizant of the needs of the community in those kinds of situations.
The needs of the
Would
community.
we have a number in there to ask for help? So we could be more proactive instead of fixing it
Well,
on the
that's
back end?
that's the thing is that the constituent services number is the number, the contact is them, because that's how they like to filter communication through that process so that we get it to the right department. And
So
that,
do they have a process where if the person calls and says, I can't do this, I'm like
well, when they get a
95
notice,
years old, do
when they get a
fix-
notice of violation, that's when they would contact us. If that
That's what I'm
happens.
saying though, the violation, it's already too late.
Well,
That the
that's
people couldn't move on the sidewalk. Somebody's being fined and stressed out. Can we say up front, there are gonna be some members of the community who have a problem?
Well, that's
you
the thing.
know,
That's where we start to make
contact
the,
us.
yeah, that's where we start to make the flyer a little too more than what it needs to be. We're just first right now trying
Could
to
it be on the
reach out with,
website?
it can be. We'll have to
Because
talk about
I
that.
mean, like I said, by the time you have a violation, there were already people who couldn't travel on that sidewalk. So we had a problem. You know,
And
and
I'm
the
also
violation
wondering
may
if
or
the
not.
city, so I have two things to add to that, Aurora, too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if the city already has a list of people who get assistance with their garbage, why can't we use those addresses and say these people are exempt from these fines because we've
Maybe not.
identified them?
I don't know. They may not have obstructions. That's why their sidewalks
But
might be
they might have
perfectly
snow
fine.
and ice. They're gonna have
Yeah,
snow and ice.
and that's where we'll ask them. We maybe at that time we could send a separate letter to those individuals on the list, asking if you are in need of that assistance to let us know. But we still haven't addressed how that's going to be done. As far as who's going to do the removal. That still has to be discussed among staff, and the costs associated with that. And if we have the ability to do that, so that's something that still has to be dialogued at our level. We're right now just trying to step up enforcement, and then we'll address those individual case by case. So it's going to be cumbersome, but we want to first start the ball rolling. So because we know of some people who haven't removed their obstructions, and we want to step up enforcement. If we wait to address all these other things, we'll never enforce anything. And that's why we want to start stepping up enforcement, because right now we can't even get people to pull weeds because, well, I didn't know I had to do it. Well, now we're letting you know you have to do it, or we're going to issue a violation.
So is there a way that we could add it to the website and then add a link to the website,
Yeah,
or a
we'll,
QR code or
and
something to
and
to this
sometimes
flyer?
and sometimes I still think about that too. I'm wondering, first of all, there could be potentially some people who will abuse that option. They'll imply they have a disability and when in fact they don't. So let's see how it goes first. If someone files an appeal and says, I can't do it because of a disability, then we can address it that way. If we get a group of people who want to just get away with it and say they're disabled, and then we're going to have a problem with enforcement again. And so we're walking through this. We're going to have difficulty and some problems, but I'll tell you this, the people on the staff are aware that people with disabilities can't do some things and will need an appeal. So don't worry, we're thinking about that. But I don't, we also have to be a little aggressive in the enforcement, because being nice hasn't worked out. And people are experiencing that.
This is Miriam. I have a suggestion on that. So when you have to get a handicap placard, you have to get, a clearance to your doctor that you in fact have a disability.
Yeah.
So there can be a process for the same, because you're asking to be excused from not being
Yes.
able to bring your.
And that could be addressed during the appeal process. That's how I was going to handle it. Like we do with the trash, they have to provide documentation and signing that they are in fact someone with a disability, and they get that signed. And that can be signed at the appeal process. And then we put them on a list. They're permanently on the list. And that way they don't, if they get issued another one, we know they're on the list, not to be fined.
Okay.
And that's why we want to do it on a case by case basis, because maybe the owner of the property is responsible and they're renting to someone with a disability. The owner is responsible for removing that obstruction, pay someone to remove it, not so much the tenant. Do you see what I mean? So if someone's renting a house, the owner is responsible for that sidewalk, not the tenant. See
And
where
that's gonna drive up rent again, right?
they can't do a surcharge. That would be a violation of ADA and fair housing. If their rent goes up because of that,
I'm
that's
not being
that's a
native.
federal.
I'm just being super optimistic. Like, I'm just being realistic, I guess, because I'm
Yeah.
afraid the systems tend to fail a lot. They tend to fail people with disabilities more than most. And I'm afraid one of these people with disabilities is gonna slip through that crack because somebody wants their sidewalk cleaned. And we're gonna hurt this population more. I just, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's where we're gonna have to go through this, and we're gonna have to, and if that happens, we'll make the corrections that we need to make. But we can't not do anything because we're worried about that. We can't worry. We can't. You know, I mean, the sky could fall, and we can't. That's why we can't do it. We're not. We can't think that way. We have to go forward. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna find out that some people have to be given an appeal, and then we're gonna go case by case. That has to happen that way. Can we provide a notification, a number for an accommodation? Yes, we can do that. But
I would
I'm gonna
request
be,
that. I would
I
request
would be,
that and then also be on the website.
yeah, and I would be cautious about who does try to use that accommodation. We will
There
go
are
through
ways though to prove it, like you said, a doctor's
Mhm.
letter, a letter of SSI. There's multiple ways where you could just say, please give me some kind of evidence that you have a disability.
Yeah, and then we'll work with people that way. I mean, I know that the Department of Public Works is looking to not hurt someone like that, but we also are having difficulty making people clear their sidewalks when they just don't want to. And we need them to fix their sidewalks, especially when they have broken sidewalks. And we're also going to go after people who have no sidewalks because they removed the sidewalk because it was broken, but they never put back in the sidewalk. We're going to go in there, pour that concrete, and charge and put a lien on their property. That's what we're going to do. And so that's why we were going to create accessible sidewalks, because people don't want to put in the sidewalk they removed the year before. We're going to do it, and they're going to have to pay for it because the sidewalk is a responsibility of the property owner.
So what
not the
about
city.
properties that were at one time county and they never had, or they're part of the,
They will be required to install the sidewalk.
even though
Welcome
there's
to the city. Welcome to the city. But that's the responsibility of property owners. If you didn't want to be annexed, you should have voted against it. That's the reality of living in the city government under that. It's existing nonconformance. If you do a renovation to your property, that's what's going to trigger it. If your sidewalk is broken, that's going to trigger it. If your sidewalk is existing and there's no obstruction and it's smooth and it just happens to be narrow, that may not trigger it.
So
It may
you're
not.
saying, those fees could be waived though. So my sister-in-law has no legs. She is a wheelchair user. Was part of the county at one time. There's no way she could afford to pour a sidewalk. There's no, I mean,
And that's where we'll look at that situation and see if there's a project that can be programmed to address a neighborhood. That's what we're talking about in the future in programming sidewalks and street repairs. We're going to be
I mean,
doing,
when a
we're going
person can barely receive a gift for a birthday, or they would cut their SSI. I mean, I can't even imagine her having to.
we'll do a study of that situation. If there's multiple people in that area, that's what has to happen. I mean, like we're doing Richards Avenue, we're going to be putting in sidewalks and bike lanes, but that's a project the city's going to put in. I mean, they're not going to charge individual homeowners on that because it's become a city need and it's a project. Now, that can happen also in a neighborhood where we've discovered there's a need for sidewalks and we're going to go in there and install it ourselves as a project. But those are things down the road. But as far as enforcement,
So
in
let me get
general,
it clear, you'll pour the sidewalk and then you will put a lien against her property. Is that what you're saying? To cover the cost
we're
of
not
it?
saying we're going to do that to her. We're not saying we're there yet. Only if she's get a notice of violation, only if that happens. She may never get a notice of violation because there may never be a complaint against her.
And I have something to add to that. We have Housing Trust and HomeWise, and we have the different housing organizations that help people and are supposed to help disabled people in particular. Why can't the city create a fund with one of those organizations to address this need for accessible fix sidewalks and access paths and things like that.
I
Um,
love that.
with, yeah, so that there is funding to pay for someone through the city to be funded, so that it's not city funds funding it, or so that it is a volunteer or a company that is actually paid and contracted to go out and clear sidewalks for people with disabilities during snow, and that's their job for that day.
Yeah, like in Philadelphia, we had a nonprofit that did it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think the city gave a little bit of money, but not quite a bit.
Right.
But they called themselves Snow Angels. They went around specifically to people with disabilities, their homes and their neighborhoods, and they went specifically to those in the homes because they got a list of those people, from those individuals with disabilities, saying they needed help. And so the Snow Angels would go to those houses only. They didn't go to people who didn't have a need. They went to
Right.
those who had a need.
So
But
that would be my suggestion,
Yeah.
is that the city needs to be working to make that happen, whether it's funding a nonprofit or funding a contract or working with Housing Trust to start that, or Habitat for Humanity, or whoever is willing to do that.
Yeah, and those are good ideas. I mean, but today at the moment, we're the direction we're going, just to give everyone's a heads up, we're moving towards enforcement. I will take this back with me to the meeting to tell them, hey, can we coordinate those kinds of efforts, so that we can prevent these kinds of problems and fill a gap. Will it be meet the whole need? Probably not, but at least it's an opportunity and an option. Okay, someone's waving.
Kendra just left, yeah.
Okay, bye, Kendra. Okay, we still.
Yeah, I need to move forward, but thank you for this. And I'm not gonna vote to approve the letter because we gave
That's fine.
suggestions and we have other suggestions, and I wrote it all down. Pam really quick, and then Gina Maria, and then I really.
Yes, quickly. I think there's a lot of absentee owners in this town, and they need to be educated that even though they're not here, or people who are on vacation, this is your civic duty.
No, we will be
not-
sending that to them. The owners of the property will be notified of the violation and don't respond, action will take place. That's enforcement. I mean, to ignore the letter from the city that you have not removed your obstruction is not a good idea.
I'm talking about just flyers that inform people of their civic obligation about snow removal and repair. That needs to get in the consciousness of people who don't necessarily live here or have a tenant. Their house is empty and they just come whenever it's convenient. I don't think they're aware, or if they're on vacation over the holidays, that there is still the obligation, even if they're out of town, to pay someone to do it. I'm just talking about education in general around this issue.
I mean, we're going to attempt to, through these flyers, going to their water bills, going to the property owners, they will get notification of this friendly reminder. And if they choose to not do anything about it, the next thing is they're going to receive is a notice of a violation. And then that's when they're going to have to address the consequences that come with that. We're not, I mean, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Because I didn't know the law existed doesn't mean I'm not required to comply. So because I was out of town and I didn't know is not a valid excuse or a justification of any kind. So is any government obligated to remind you? Absolutely not. A homeowner has responsibilities and obligations that they must know about and learn. Otherwise, they have no business owning a property, and they're going to learn the consequences the hard way. I didn't know I couldn't speed down I-25. Well, here's your ticket. That's how it is. That's personal responsibility falls on the homeowner. And reminders and kindness is not a requirement.
I wasn't
That's
suggesting.
hard. That's hard, but that's the reality. We all have
And
that.
and we are going to, I'm going to ask for this to be sent to the public in multiple ways. So it's going to be on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we can also do awareness campaigns that there is alternatives for people who need assistance. Please let the city know.
Mhm.
I absolutely in full think that there needs to be a program here to support people with disabilities and low-income households
And that's something to work with,
comply.
yes. Yes, I agree with that.
So I'm more than happy to be a person to
Yeah.
really push to make that happen.
Because we're gonna
I-
also do this with parking and accessible
Exactly.
entrance and things of that nature, building code. These things have law, and we need to start holding people accountable to the requirements of law. I mean, because how are we gonna become accessible if we don't make them do their part,
Right.
you know?
Gina Maria, really quick, and then I have to move on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I have to leave. I have another meeting at 5.
Okay.
we gotta vote on 2 items, right?
Block grants for this kind of thing?
Aren't there what?
Community block grants.
We only get $4 million and they're used for other things. Homelessness.
If you apply for a community block grant that's specifically for this, then
The city has allocated a very limited number of dollars for community development block grants. So the availability of that money is almost non-existent.
but that's their application.
No, the city gets, that's it. They don't get any more.
All right, so
And
then
with,
we need to
and in the
apply
future,
for
that
another one.
I wouldn't bank on the community block grant monies being increased in the future. Because
Yeah,
I have a
I
feeling
guess
a lot of
not.
I have a feeling a lot of
Probably
financial
might even
programs are going to get cut.
disappear.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cuts in the future. I could see. So I'm worried. So we can only do so much with what we have, the resources.
I also think that we might, and I'm going to write this down of for Keep Santa Fe Beautiful, that they could potentially deal with this too, with regards to like weed removal for homes, and stuff like that. So I wrote them down as a possible
Yeah, these are good ideas. I mean, we can propose them and hope someone steps up.
Yeah. Angelique, please, really quick.
I actually love the idea of the funding, maybe getting nonprofits involved or, volunteer groups.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of using different methods to get the information out there because a lot of our elderly community is disabled and they do not know how to use computers. They do not know how to use their phones, websites that's not accessible to them. And we have to keep in mind that a huge part of our senior community cannot read, especially immigrants, and we have to remember that. So I think using different methods is a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna write down radio, newspaper. I'm just thinking of brainstorming things. Okay, I really literally need to move on. I appreciate this conversation though, and I think it's necessary. It's been very in-depth. So I think it's helpful. Next is 7I, a request for a $20,000 budget for the mayor's committee to fulfill duties for the upcoming year. This is just a proposal. But I noticed that the Women's Commission has a $20,000 budget and it is not in their establishing resolution to have that. That's provided to by the city to them. And so we as a committee should have something similar with the amount of work that we're doing, the amount of outreach we need, with the amount of technology access we need, the amount of support that we need to do what we're doing. And so I just wanted to propose it to the mayor's committee members to give me permission to write that letter to request a $20,000 budget. And I will send everyone, I will be included in the packet when I write it. It's probably going to be next month. But I just wanted to include everyone here to allow me to move forward on that. So may we have a motion to allow the chair to send a request of a $20,000 budget to fulfill our mayor's committee duties.
Is anyone here?
I'm here.
You broke up. Repeat yourself, please.
Yeah, sorry. May I request permission to sorry. Now I'm gonna lose it because I've been in this meeting too long. May we have a motion to allow the chair to request $20,000 of a budget from the city of Santa Fe for the mayor's committee on disability to fulfill our duties for the upcoming year? Yeah.
So moved.
I'll
Thank you.
second
Aurora,
that.
right?
Thank
And
you.
then,
This is Angelique. I'll second that.
okay, so Catherine Gish,
Yes,
Kendra Garcia, she's gone.
she's gone. Yeah.
Aurora Bleak
Aurora Bleck says yes.
and Angelique,
Yes.
Pam Parfit,
Yes.
Thank you.
Gina Maria.
Oh, she left.
I think she left. yeah.
Okay, Miriam.
And Miriam is here.
Yes.
All right, we got the
Thank
vote.
you.
Cool.
Next is 7J, vote to recommend the removal of committee member Christopher Pommier due to attendance, and he had stated to me before we had changed these meetings to Wednesday, it actually was after, unfortunately, so that was the problem, that he would not be able to attend Wednesday meetings because of a work obligation. He's in meetings at work, so he can't attend these meetings. That is literally the only reason. Otherwise, he seems really wonderful, and I'm really actually sad that he can't attend our meetings. So anyway, may we have a motion to recommend the removal of committee member Christopher Pommier due to his inability to attend our meetings?
I so move.
Pam.
Second is from
Okay.
Aurora.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's go for it. Kathleen Gish,
Yes,
Aurora Blick,
Yes.
Angelique,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Gina Maria, Miriam.
Yes.
Okay, we got it.
thank you.
Okay,
So next is, it will be matters of subcommittees after this, and then matters from staff. Daniel, go ahead.
okay. We were talking about the obstructions. We had a member of the community bring forth a concern to the mayor. And it was from this committee that to develop flyers, various flyers, one pagers to go out about obstructions and so forth and enforcement to inform the community of their obligation to remove these barriers, whether it be a tree root and it broke the concrete, that they must fix that concrete so that we have an accessible path. If they have a tree limb that's sticking out into the sidewalk and it hits someone in the face and they can't walk by, they need to trim those bushes or trim that tree. And if we got to do it, we will charge them for it. Also, if they don't have a sidewalk, then they're going to be required to install their sidewalk because that's the law. I mean, if they removed it because it was broken, but they never put it back in because they thought maybe putting in loose gravel would be an option, that's not acceptable. We have code requirements that they have to meet. And so we're gonna, right now, our first steps are to send out these flyers to everyone in the households who have water bills. Hey, just to remind you, you need to remove all trash or bicycles or anything that obstructs that sidewalk. Number one item that I looked at also was when people park in their driveways, they will block the sidewalk. That is a violation. You can be given a ticket by the police department for doing that. I'm going to put together a flyer that shows that violation and specifically speak to that they can't continue doing that. And if you get a ticket from the police department, don't be so surprised because that is the driveways is yours. The public right of way is not to be violated, not to be blocked. So that's the thing. That's what's going to be looked at. In Dallas, Texas, they did that. And in the first couple of months, people got the hint and stopped parking their cars in such a manner. Because if in 1 month you get 3 tickets, that's $300 that you didn't want to pay for. And if you don't pay that ticket, it gets worse. So yes, enforcement is has to be stepped up by the city because people don't learn to self-regulate. And if you let them get away with it, they will continue to not adhere to the law. And that impacts not just citizens with disabilities, but everyone who's trying to walk by. So if anyone has anything they want to provide me feedback, I'm always open to.
Well, I'm going to say, I worked extensively with members of SAD, Stop Aggressive Driving, to try to get speeders ticketed, to get those with altered mufflers ticketed. And so far, it doesn't work. They don't have the staff. So are you advocating that there be a designated officer, department within the police department? Who would be taking away from chasing criminals and drug traffickers and active shooters to?
In our public works department, we have people who address notices of violation. Parking your car on a street, on a driveway like that, blocking the sidewalk. One of our members of our staff who goes around doing work related to the streets, driving in the truck, can step out, issue that notice of violation or ticket. Also, we have the parking enforcement division in our department. And so when they are around and they happen to see a violation, they can step out and issue that violation. So it's going to be a group effort plus inspectors that do home inspections for contract work and all that stuff. And they see that kind of violation, they also can issue out a ticket as well. So it's going to be a joint effort, not solely on the PD, because we understand they're limited and they have higher priorities, but that doesn't excuse them from also being called to do it if there's a repeat offender. So that could be done as well. So we're not gonna have crime go up because they're ticketing people parking on their driveways incorrectly. It's just not gonna be the case. We're gonna do it as best as we can. But this is just to inform people that, hey, if you don't want to experience a negative situation with tickets, 3 tickets in a month for your car, you're going to stop. I mean, if I got a $300 ticket, I'm not going to do that again. Go ahead. Someone's got a
Nishi,
question.
go ahead.
Daniel, I'm gonna send you my comments per your suggestion that
Yeah.
I've already scribbled all over.
Sure.
But 2 things on this. I think you need to reference and make sure that you are informed about the uniform traffic ordinance. Page 55, section 12.6-6.1 talks about parking on the sidewalk, blocking crosswalks. It is probably the thing that we, in my subdivision, face the most frequently. The problem, and I've been trying to deal with this since February. I finally got a hold of the parking guy. The second to last or third to last page of the uniform traffic ordinance lists the fine for parking on a sidewalk as $150.
Yep.
I was thrilled. He wrote me back and informed me that several years ago, they reduced it to $35 and they've had no problem since then. If a litter fine is $300, I can't believe blocking a sidewalk is worth $35. Number 2, the parking department, all right, and I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, but
Is that a
basically they
state fine
were-
or a local fine?
I'm sorry, say again?
Is that a state fine or a city fine?
It's in the city of Santa Fe's uniform traffic ordinance.
Okay, so
Which you can get on the website, page 55, 12.6 and I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. And then we can look at how we can increase that fine or how we can modify it. And that would have to go before governing body.
I understand that. I'm just saying that when I finally got the parking guy on the phone or on email, and he said, oh, $35 is plenty. It was changed years ago. And he said, and I'm going to have it changed in the uniform traffic, the UTO. So 4 months later, still $150 fine. Nobody's changed anything. So when we talk about, did anybody, excuse me, follow up or whatever, I've been trying to follow up, but the most important thing is the parking department, the safety officers, they only work from like 7:30 in the morning till like 5:30 at night.
Mhm.
But they're very proud of the fact that if there's a violation, you can call the police. Well, you know what? As Pam said, I don't want to call the police. Most of the time, the people are blocking the sidewalk is overnight because during the day, they're all at work. And when I
One
go out,
thing,
when I go out to walk my dog at 6:30 in the morning and I have to walk into the street because car. That should be something that you guys need to take a serious look at. The other thing is, I'm not sure that the parking department is fully trained in sidewalk blocking. You know, they
That's
come
where
into
we're
our
going to be
neigh-
talking.
come into our
And they're in our
neighborhood,
department. Yeah, they're in
I'm
our
sorry.
department, and our director is informing me that she's going to be stepping up that enforcement through multiple efforts.
That's all.
And
And I'm
so it's going to
send
come
you
from
my
the top. It's going to come from the top, and
Good.
it's going to filter down to those parking enforcement agents, and they will be properly trained, and they will have no excuse. In addition to that, when we have our street guys doing street improvements, and they notice something like that, and they're there at 6 o'clock in the morning sometimes fixing a street. They see that, we're gonna encourage them to go out over there and address the issue with a ticket. You don't have to confront the individual who's blocking the car. You just issue the
Trust me,
ticket.
I
and-
don't confront anybody anymore.
Yeah, you can't. It gets dangerous. And so those are the kinds of enforcements that we're gonna do. I mean, will we catch everyone? Definitely not. Will we catch the ones that abuse it the most? If we get enough complaints, most likely we'll send them a notice telling them, hey, we have gotten 22 complaints about you blocking your driveways, and we have these pictures to prove it. Will you comply? And that's when somebody starts to realize I'm on the radar. I'm going to stop doing that. And that's how we can do that, through everyone's effort, the community effort as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna mark up my letter and send it back to you. I'm gonna send it to Kathleen. Kathleen, can you copy the members of your committee so that everybody at
Yeah.
least sees my comments before the next meeting?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That'd be
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
So I was gonna ask you about the transition plan, but we're over and I feel really,
Yep.
I'm having a rough day. So,
Oh, okay. I'll touch on that.
okay.
Okay. On December, I want to say 4th, well, the Public Works Committee meeting, I'm going to be presenting to them where we're at, what we're, give them an address on what we're doing as far as compliance with the transition plan, and also what they can anticipate after we complete that transition plan. Specifically, they're going to need to fund some projects to correct items that need to be removed, the barriers for city-owned facilities. Also about how we're addressing the various components like this with the community and all kinds of other items as well. So I'm going to be doing that on that date for the mayor, and then after that, I'm going to be putting myself on the agenda for December, I believe, so that I can present that same topic to you guys.
Okay.
So that way you can see what I presented to them. We would have presented it to you first, but your meeting comes after their meeting, so that's why we can't do it.
That's fine.
And
As long as it happens.
yeah, but that's why I wanted to do it with you first, but the deadline is coming, and we're gonna have
Yeah.
less meetings in December for
Yeah.
that committee.
That's fine.
So
Okay,
that's what we're doing.
I added a note to add that to the agenda, so.
And also the equity and inclusion director job has posted again. Once again, I'll submit my name. The city manager will have to pick someone because the one they picked before didn't take the job. And once they pick someone, this committee, the Veterans Committee and the Women's Committee will go under that director. If it happens to be me, because I'm already doing 2 of those committees, then things will be improved. We'll be under the city manager, and we'll also work to get a budget like for those issues that we need to address. And we'll have a little more authority in initiating change throughout the system. Because I won't be, I'll be a director that will be able, if I'm selected. I'm saying I'm not going to be, I'm not going to say I'm going to be selected because it didn't happen the last time. But if the director will have that authority to initiate those changes through all the departments, to step up enforcement for people with disabilities and other groups that are affected, marginalized groups that are impacted. And so that's the future that's coming. We'll see how it goes. I encourage everyone to continue their advocacy in their community. That's how the city will address these issues, and that's how it'll learn about the issues. So understand that everyone that works for the city is human. We have feelings. They do get hurt. So if you could be kind as you communicate with us, that's always welcomed. I can take it most of the time, but sometimes, it gets a little out of hand sometimes. But I'm not saying anyone's been negative, but if you can avoid being negative and let's work together, I'm here to work with you. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. So next is item 10, matters from the committee. And Aurora, if you could just give an update on the transit advisory board, that would be great.
They're gonna try and meet in December. They put out a call for members. And I heard today that the rapid hiring event they had last weekend, they got 4 candidates for the Santa Fe ride. And the person who told me was a Santa Fe ride driver, so I don't know if they found anybody on the bus side. And they also hired 2 applicants for the call center. And I know they needed at least 1 person for that, so yay. So, now we need to fix senior van.
Yeah. And please keep me updated, because if I can attend that meeting, I want to, because we need to.
Okay, yeah, they don't have a date yet, but I will post, I can send that date to everybody when we get one.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Aurora. If there's any other matters from the committee, I don't have anything.
I'm sorry, Kathleen.
Yeah, go
Hey,
ahead.
Daniel, I was notified that the apartments there, remind me of the name of Kathleen, I'm so sorry.
Via Allegra.
They are out of power. They don't have heat. Is there any way you could make a note on that? We have a lot of people with disabilities over there, and this storm is really bad. And so I don't want anyone to die in their home or not have, talking about access. They need some heat over there.
Via
And it's
Allegra?
about
What's the
4
address?
It's on St. Francis and West Alameda. It's that corner.
Okay.
So it's been out since about 4, so their solar power is running out
It's
right now.
gone.
It's
Yeah.
gone. They have no heat there.
No heat. Okay, I'm gonna call someone right now.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then, so with that, and thank you, Angelique, for that. So our next meeting is December 4th, 2024 from 3 to 5 p.m. on Zoom. And with that, we are adjourned at 5:21 p.m. And thank you guys for staying over. I appreciate it.
Have a happy Thanksgiving with your families. You
Yeah,
guys will
thank
see
you.
right
Yes.
at- Okay. Bye, guys.
I'll probably call you Chair Gish.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I gotta take care of some things, especially
Okay.
this apartment thing.
Yeah, thank you.